Hey Aries, welcome to your tarot reading for July 2025. My name's Wendy, and today I will be using the Robin Wood Tarot to conduct your reading. This is my favorite deck of all time, and I really hope they print it again. It's out of print currently. It's just my favorite deck, and I would love a new copy. All right, Aries, let's see what's coming up for you this month. I'm looking at this month through the metaphorical lens of the bloom cycle. So we're going to look at what's blooming in your life, what is falling away, what is being released, and then what you're meant to take away from this. And the reason I'm doing this is it's gardening season where I live. I live in Canada, so it's summertime, and I've been observing the cycles of the plants and, thinking a lot about what it means to have faith and trust. When you invest in something and you start to see proof of its growth, proof of your effort, proof of concept, it can be really validating and fulfilling. But then suddenly, you get to that ebb where something kind of stops and changes direction, or it stops growing for a while. And you think, gosh, is this what should I change? Did I do it properly? You kind of, it challenges you to really have faith. It's kind of like a new moon energy. And so it's important to reflect in those moments and have that faith that what's being released will be either refilled or replaced by something better. So if something's falling away, trust that something is also going to bloom. And then, we'll finish it with a little takeaway lesson. So Aries, what's coming up for you this month? What is blooming in Aries' life? All right, Aries, you have the Knight of Wands and the Ten of Swords. So what's blooming in your life? Well, it looks like there's a lot of excitement, but it's like you can't get started. I'm seeing a Jeep that's kind of stuck in some mud, and you're trying to rev the engine and the wheels are spinning, but it's not going anywhere. Or you want to take off, but you're too tired. Something may be really tempting you to take action. I see these separately as well, where the Knight of Wands is like the emergency, the first responder, the first one on the scene, the one who shows up to take care of things. And then the Ten of Swords is the person they're going to help. And I'm not saying that specific scenario is happening in your life, but just as a metaphor, there's this feeling of the Knight of Wands. I'm so purposeful. I get up and I'm ready to live my passion. I want to help. I want to jump into action. And I'm there. You can count on me. I'm there. I'm coming. And then the Ten of Swords is I don't know if some of you are watching the summertime pass and you're dealing with some depression as well, and just feeling sorrowful and almost guilty that you're kind of watching the summertime pass and it feels like it's moving quickly and you're not as energized or adventurous as you maybe are stereotyped to be, or that you see other people doing. Not everyone, even the fire signs, not everyone loves the summer. Even though you're supposed to say make hay when the sun shines, the heat can be quite oppressive to people. So either way, I feel like you're proud of something. You're proud of what you are working toward. You're learning to master your energy, your particular flame, your power. You're learning to master this, and it's intriguing to have such polar opposite cards in the bloom position. So before we move any further, I want to see what's being released so that we can explain this a little deeper. What is being released, or what's disintegrating? What's falling off the vine, so to speak? What is Aries releasing? What are we saying goodbye to? Are you feeling free because you've shed a skin and you've let something go? Is this Ten of Swords the old you? And you're like, it's done, the battle's over. Like, it's done. So now I can go on and take my valiant effort elsewhere. Because what you're releasing is the Seven of Wands. You're being a little more discerning when you choose your battles, or what you invest in generally. I'm hearing that previously you diversified and now you are simplifying, which helps you focus and it helps you really master one particular growth cycle. Let's say you are gardening and you used to grow many different things and now you're kind of focusing on one or two things that you do really well. How does Aries quite contrary, how does your garden grow? The Seven of Wands, you know, it's, yes, he's defending his land, he's got his tartan on, he's proud to fight and defend his territory, but what I see from this card is the more that you engage with something, the more a bunch of other little things pop up. And I think that this is necessary. I'm feeling like this has been necessary. And that tends to happen, right? It's like when you have a day off and you want to clean one part of your house and then suddenly you're doing 50 different things. But those things were necessary. So I really feel, and this is important because I don't always see this with the Seven of Wands, but I feel for you that all these little things were necessary to address. You had to be in this role. And now you've actually defeated the enemy. And it's time to move on to the next adventure. Time to take that energy, that valiant effort elsewhere. What else can I do? Where else can I go? Are you letting yourself heal in between the battles? And I'm using that metaphor. I don't mean you're in battle, but when you've exerted so much, it kind of feels like you've really been fighting for something with these cards. Standing up for something, standing your ground. Not letting somebody sway you despite how many people might be against you. You're like, no, this is what I believe. These are my values. You're not going to change my mind. I don't care if I'm outnumbered. I'm used to being alone in this belief or in this worldview. And I'm happy to fight for it because I know what's right? Like you have this strong sense of conviction. I think your values are really strong. You have Saturn in your sign, you have Neptune in your sign, so there is a need to consider the harvest with that Saturn being in your sign. Over the next few years, you're going to learn some lessons, some big life lessons. Saturn teaches us about the cycles of agriculture, but in a greater way, the cycles. It teaches us about boundaries. It teaches us about our limitations. And it teaches us the necessity of steps. And previously, Saturn, before we had telescopes, Saturn was the last planet that we could see with the naked eye. So we believed that Saturn was the end of our solar system, right? It represents these endings, boundaries, steps, plans, but also discipline. So your efforts are paying off. you do come out victorious here. Saturn's the planet of the hard workers, so there is effort made, but it pays off. Saturn can be a karmic energy as well, so I think the next couple of years for you, you're really looking at what place those karmic cycles have held in your life and how you contribute to the growth of the newer and better things. What are you meant to take away from this? What is the lesson this month, or the wisdom for Aries? You've got the Two of Swords. And I was kind of wondering, because what's falling away, well, this person he has no armor, he has no horse. But what's blooming is you have the armor, you have the horse, so you can get somewhere faster. You have help, you have speed, you have more resources. You can get where you're going. And this may have been some kind of, felt like a deal with the devil at first in a way, where you had to just accept that you couldn't go further the way it was. You needed your metaphorical horse to get you somewhere a little faster, even though you were determined to do it yourself. I think this horse really represents something that you need, like a resource or person, a relationship, maybe a support, maybe it is an animal for support, but someone who motivates you. Let's say if you're struggling with depression, but you still have to get up and walk the dog type of thing. I think also a lot of you, I see a change of residence. Where previously you were, I don't know, you didn't like your neighbors or you didn't like the neighborhood. There was just, you were always kind of on guard where you were. And then finally you're able to get up and walk away from that, like move house so you don't have to, oh, is that neighbor gonna come out and like stop me again? They always do. You know, there's kind of this trepidation when it comes to leaving the house. And I think that's changing. Now, in terms of what you're releasing, again, we've got the Two of Swords. So there's a closing the door forever, closing the gate, locking it, moving on. So I don't think you're going to revisit where you've been. And you're meant to say no. You're meant to withdraw yourself. I'm not getting involved. Gemini had this too. I'm not getting involved. I'm just saying no. I'm not going back. I'm not opening the conversation again. We have been fighting a lot. I finally accepted that I just couldn't win, or there's something about that, like acquiescing. Somebody has acquiesced and just acknowledged we can't go any further realistically. And then, okay, it's time to move on. I'm going to take my horse and go. And we're not reopening that door. Like, I'm not coming back. So you have to keep growing, because what was in the past really drained you. The Seven of Wands does drain us because we're constantly like fighting something, or we feel like there's always something to be on guard or, you know, be kind of on the lookout for. And that vigilance gets exhausting. So now that you're free of it, I don't think you want to go back. So that door is closed, and I think you're better for it. So Aries, that's been your reading for the month of July. Very powerful. Big changes going on. A lot of, big door opening, but also big door closing. So I hope this reading has been helpful to you, and if you would like a personal reading with me, I would love to read your cards. I'm going to leave my information in the description box, so all you have to do basically is email me, but I'll leave all the information down there so you can see how to get in contact for a reading, and I will see you in the next one.